Hi everyone, this is ASMartin. Usually I don't partake in any ASMR videos, but per ASMartin's request, I'm replacing her for this week. She really loves you guys so much. I am ASMartin's husband. We've been together for almost 3 years. ASMartin is okay. Don't you worry. It's just that she got in a little accident. She's currently in the local hospital. She'll be fine. We're not quite sure what happened, but apparently ASMartin was on the side of the road. According to police report, an eyewitness said that they spotted a very petite young woman on the side of the road. She was on her bicycle at the time, that I know for sure. And unfortunately, she was sniffing some flowers and playing with the petals ever so gently, which led to her not being so aware of her surroundings, as she was reportedly tapping on flower petals when a young man on a scooter, electric to be precise, ran into her, and she fell and suffered a minor concussion. She'll be okay. She has no memory loss, which we're very happy about. No encephalitis or swelling of the brain. So, again, I'm ASMartin, and per ASMartin's request, I'm here to provide you guys with beautiful sounds for your pleasure. So ASMartin and I actually met a few years ago at an ice cream store. I was purchasing my favorite flavor, lavender. I do enjoy floral flavors. And she actually asked for the same flavor, inspired by me. She was right behind me in line. And that's when both of us discovered that we have shared interests. She's an artist, I'm an artist. I play piano, she plays the harp. We appreciate the finer things in life. So I thought it would be quite fitting to have this ice cream cone be the first object that I share with you today, dear viewers. Notice the texture and the sound of this beautiful porcelain ice cream cone. You tap it more gently, it produces a gentler sound. If you tap it a little more harshly, it produces a denser sound. But my favorite, when it comes to this ice cream cone, symbolic of ASMR and my relationship and how we first met, is this sound. You can almost hear the ocean. It's almost like a seashell. Sort of a sound. Speaking of which, this is my favorite little seashell. I found it while on vacation in Turks and Caicos with my stepmother. My stepmother and I actually have a tradition where we go to the Turks and Caicos Islands once every 2 years. Not because 2 years is of any particular significance to us, it's more that biannually kind of works out with our schedule. My stepmother is 74 years old, but she sort of refuses to retire. Notice the sound. And the seashell. You may even hear the sound of Margarine's dog, and she owned way before meeting me, way before we got hitched. And the dog is actually chewing on a plastic toy, so you may hear that in the background. Notice the color as left behind by, I guess, the oyster that was inside this shell. It always fascinates me. Nature and the beauty it produces in its different forms, shapes, and sizes. Even though not aesthetically pleasing, it's quite nice that my nails aren't so nice. Ironic how that works, isn't it? Because not so nice nails are quite conducive of a nice sound, paradoxically speaking. So, I apologize aesthetically for my nails, but you're welcome. Now, this is actually a gift of mine to my wife, ASMartin, from the time that we were dating. I'm not quite sure why she hasn't delved into the pleasures of this candle. So this is by the Volupsa brand, established way back in 1999, 1 year before the Y2K. And what I really like about this specific candle is the sound that it produces when tapping on it. Oh, I love this delicious sound. Isn't that delicious? Delicious. Margarine also wanted me to let her fans know that it is her hope that she'll be out of hospital by next week. It is my hope that she'll be out of hospital as soon as possible as well, of course. So relaxing. This candle is vanilla flavor, and as you can see, it's barely been used. The wax is a little melted, so it seems. So you can feel the slime on your fingers, and you can even see the byproduct. It's very delicious. Very nice smell. It's very precious, sort of a porcelain material. I like the shadow that it produces on the bottom. You can see the reflection of both my fingers, as well as the lid. Caution. Important safety instructions. Trim wicks to 1/4 6 millimeters prior to each lighting. Keep away from droplets. Place on a surface. Continue to be hot when candle is lit. Discontinue use. When the 6 millimeters remains, do not allow trimming certain materials to accumulate. Keep away from things that catch your eye. Keep away from children and pets. Children, pets. And point Phillips 2900 California 92614. Phillips K, the Chelsea building. Remain dry, sweet. SS5 United Kingdom. 4 ounces, 113 grams. So precious. Delicious. So, I'm actually sipping from some wonderful tea that ASMartin also enjoys. So, ASMartin and I tend to go to the farmers markets and secondhand stores. This one we actually found at a Goodwill, believe it or not, for 99 cents. It's used, and yet it doesn't look used. It looks barely used. In fact, it also produces a lot of beautiful sounds. This is actually a pleasure to meet all of you guys, all of the viewers of ASMartin. My beloved wife, may she heal and come back to us as soon as possible, but I really hope you guys are enjoying ASMartin. I know I'm nowhere near as talented or as witty or as funny as ASMartin, but it's interesting. You can actually hear ASMartin's canine sipping from water in the background. Wasn't that interesting? Let's say hello to the dog. Come. Hello. Hello. Aren't you a lovely, lovely dog? Hello. Hello. So this is the next object I want to share with you. This is Max. Max is ASMartin's beloved dog. Oops. I guess that was all that Max was willing to show and share of himself. Now, back to our wonderful tea in a box. Oh, my bad. This isn't tea. This seems to be sugar. I'm sorry. I didn't know about that. Usually we use this box for tea. I'm guessing that today it wasn't so. I don't know if you guys know this, but apparently this is all the rage now with the youth of America and the world. Apparently it's called a spinner. Margarine was quite incessant and insisting that, oh, hi Max, that we use the spinner. Max seems to like the spinner quite a lot. Oh, Max, we're trying to induce ASMR tingles in our viewers, so maybe right now is not the time. Thank you, Max. Notice the spinning. Okay, Max. All right. Isn't he adorable? Oh, Max. Oh, Max. Oh, Max. I wonder if we can tap on Max and what that would sound like. In any case, I really like the way that the metal produces a metallic sound, almost like corkscrews or some sort of plumbing material. It's nice to sort of twist and press on these little buttons. I haven't quite understood the significance of this spinning object and why it is so popular with the youth. But I guess as you age, you sort of become quite ignorant to the things that make the youth happy, as you no longer belong to that age group or demographic. Isn't that just mesmerizing? Now, you remember how earlier I was speaking about the tea that I'm sipping from? Actually, this is the tea. It's a Paravian tea, flavored peachy oolong. So there's a peach component to the flavor, but then there's also oolong as its base. What ASMartin and I enjoy doing is sitting on our balcony, reading books while sipping on our tea. You know, oftentimes I find myself just tapping on objects. ASMartin does the same, and sometimes we lose track of time. We could be in the middle of a conversation, whip out an object like this beautiful peach-colored jar of peachy oolong tea and find ourselves just tapping on it. 20 minutes go by. Suddenly we snap out of our trance, only to notice that we both have been mesmerized by our own tapping and our own tinkles for 20 minutes. It's really not conducive of a very fruitful conversation between a married couple, but what can you do? We are both ASMR addicts. It's even gotten so bad to the point that I no longer call my wife by her first name, Margarine. I actually refer to her as ASMartin. And she no longer refers to me as simply Martin. She actually calls me ASMartin. Sometimes we forget that we are Martin and Margarine as opposed to ASMartin and ASMartin. And I guess that's the power of a hobby, isn't it? Where you're so entranced by a hobby and so addicted to the pleasures that it ensues that you start to shape your identity according to that interest, hobby. What a pleasure it is for me to be able to be here today with you guys. The fans that I know that ASMR Margarine loves so much. She speaks so highly of you, really. Isn't that just delicious? What a treat it is to sit here with my peachy oolong tea. Let me see if I can sort of show you guys a little bit more of the way this tea looks. You can notice just how earthy it is and all the little black oolong grains and these peachy kind of pebbles that sort of remind us that this isn't just an oolong flavor, it's actually quite peachy at the same time. Oh, you have to be very delicate with this flavor. This tin provides education. With every tin you purchase, Bar Avianti will give 1 day of education to a child in need. This tea is hand blended in the USA, so it really supports the current zeitgeist of America first. Not saying I agree with it, but it is what it is. So now I want to share with you something that ASMR Margarine and I, ASMartin, enjoy eating together. And a benefit of this fruit is not only does it look nice, not only does it taste absolutely delicious, but it actually serves as a kind of a pheromone, not in the classic pheromone sense. It just sort of helps the bodily fluids taste a little sweeter, if you know what I mean. maybe some of you have already guessed it, but it says pineapple. ASMartin and I really like cutting up, chopping up some of this beautiful fruit. I mean, you can see just the different colors. You can see just the neon-y green that not many of us actually take the time to appreciate on a pineapple. It's so shiny and almost like a neon color, but there's also the browns, and each and every diamond shape here has 1, 2, 3, and 4 sides to it. And each one of these diamonds actually has its own character when you sort of notice it up close. Now, the sounds, quite overlooked by many people, but they're also quite delicious. Quite hollow in nature, really, quite hollow. And quite varied, really. I mean, there's the leaves, which sort of provide the dry sound. And you have the hollow sort of and then it's just a pleasure to look at, really. You know, most of us don't really take the time to appreciate just how eclectic this fruit really is, not just in terms of its different characteristics, but really the different worlds and layers within each of its respective parts. I mean, the pineapple always comes with this sort of bushy, leafy sort of concoction on top, which in itself is just so interesting to play with and to feel and to listen to. Almost feathery in nature, almost like the feathers of a very sturdy bird. And then you have sort of the body, which, again, each diamond has its own concoction of colors and collection of eclectic characteristics. I mean, this looks like some sort of skin, right? You can really see that this fruit is alive. The beautiful leathery feel of the diamonds on the pineapple. And the fact that each pineapple is unique in its insides, almost like a watermelon. You get some hints as to just how ripe and ready and juicy, or not, the fruit is on the inside. Almost like a human being. We have our complexities, our different layers, and, you know, I would argue that the pineapple is quite similar in that respect. So that was the pineapple, and again, it really helps with the sexual activities, especially when it comes to the female enjoying the male bodily fluids, as it really has a nice effect on the taste of violence. The one thing about the pineapple that I appreciate a little less is that it sort of leaves this dust behind it. Oh. Before Margarine got in her little accident, she actually bought us some beautiful Rainier cherries. These are sweet, very delightful. You can see just how dark red they are, and allow me just to enjoy one. I hope you don't mind. They're magically delicious. I do understand that magically delicious is the slogan of a particular brand of cereal, but that's okay. So juicy. This one seems a little less ripe than the others because you can see that it's lighter in color. Let's try it and see. I'm guessing it would be harder in texture. Definitely harder and squishier, but no less sweet, no less delicious. Man, I really do miss my wife, ASMartin, and I wish her the best. You know, we really feared that her concussion would lead to memory loss, but we were so happy when we found out that that is not a concern. Not only does she remember everything, she's quite coherent. She really remembers everything up to the accident. I have to ask her if the police report was accurate, if she really was playing around with the flower petals. So interesting how, even in this instant, ASMR was the sort of dangerous component that led to the accident of Margarine. I mean, we really have to pay closer attention to our surroundings, both myself as well as Margarine, when, you know, we get so sucked into the activity that sometimes we just kind of lose track of time and space, and it can get dangerous apparently, and this really serves as a lesson to us all. So, now, I I have a few more items to share with you. Now, Margarine and I really like art. This is Renoir. You can just see there's a very particular aesthetic to this artist. And what I like about Renoir is that he really captures imperfections in such a perfect manner, if that makes any sense. I mean, this little child's chubby cheeks and sort of the bald spots on her head are captured in such a beautiful way. I feel that Renoir really celebrates the imperfections of humanity in most of his art, which is what I like about it. It's so beautiful and just so precise. These beautiful flowery patterns. Nature always incorporated with the human condition. Just notice how vulnerable this lady is as she sits there in her nakedness. Just the colors, just so beautiful, you know. So, the warm, sensuous painting of Auguste Renoir was throughout his long life the art of a man on good terms with the world, a world in which he saw little that was not beautiful. His delightful and color-rich depictions of dances and picnics and smiling children and full-faced, often buxom young women and of glowing nudes reflect at once the ideals of Impressionism and the contentment of their creator. Renoir is reported to have said to an instructor, quote, "If it did not amuse me to paint, I beg you to believe that I wouldn't do it." For Renoir, a leader among the Impressionists, nothing could ever dim the inexhaustible joy of painting. Born in 1841, Renoir had decided by 1862 on a career in art. He showed 6 paintings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in the historic First Impressionist exhibition of 1874, and his output in the following years was enormous. About 1898, he began to suffer from arthritis. And yet he continued to paint even when, by 1912, he had to paint with a brush strapped to his arm. It's a little-known fact about Renoir. This volume's 40 color plates, each with a descriptive commentary providing both insight and anecdote, along with nearly 30 black and white reproductions of drawings and studies, present a rich and representative sampling of Renoir's art. Several of his bronzes are shown too, and the self-portrait reveals a Renoir almost as charming and unaffected as the children he portrayed. In his introduction to the life and work of Renoir, Walter Pack, American painter, printmaker, and author of several books on 19th and 20th century art, says, quote, "Previous centuries had given to the world such gains as Titian and Rubens. Before our Renoir, with his portrayal of the mysterious beauty of childhood, of summer skies, flowers, and the female nude, the world had to wait for the modern period." End quote. Now, this book contains 68 illustrations, including 40 plates in full color. It's an older purchase. Margarine actually brought it from her family home. This is a self-portrait of Renoir. I'm not going to show you everything because I really do want to save battery life on my iPad, but I do want you to enjoy sort of the main pieces here. This is what Renoir looked like in Apparently he was a huge proponent of hats. I'm not sure if it was because of the sun, their practical use, or it was really a fashion statement. Maybe it was both. I'm no Renoir expert, but I do appreciate his work. So this is one of my favorite Renoir paintings. It was painted in 1874. It's titled Ballet Dancer. It's featured in the National Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C. And what I really like about Renoir is you can really get to the soul of each of his subjects. I mean, if you look at this little girl, not only do you see her flaws and perfections and characteristics, just you really see her personality. And that's what I love about Renoir, is that his paintings capture so much, so many layers of depth when it comes to the human condition. So yes, Impressionism is not necessarily the most accurate depiction of subjects when it comes to human portraits, but definitely in the name Impressionism, you can really get an impression of each of the subjects. So here Renoir gives us the graceful poising of a figure destined for beautiful motion. Indeed, the movement, weightlessness, and fleeting balance of the ballet may be called the unseen subject of this painting. Cunningly, every detail is made to contribute. The dancer is suspended in a cool, relatively high-key atmosphere, which suggests floor and background, yet does not engage the figure in architecture. There are no hard boundaries. The drawing is delicate, and the touch light, and yet there is precision and fluidity, which is kind of what I was getting at. The precision and fluidity of this painting. He really did like his portraits. Impressionism is just such a beautiful genre of art because it not only is an insight into how the artist was impressed with his subjects, it's also very indicative of the objective components of what it is that the artist was looking at, and quite objectively, our analysis of the subjective impression that the subject or object had on the artist really gives us an objective account of the way in which the artist consistently perceived the world around him. All right, enough. Well, actually not enough. Because I just want to... This one is so incredible. Speaking of fruits, speaking of pineapple, just look at this assortment of fruits. I mean, you can even see how non-GMO, pre-industrial era European fruits and veggies looked. I mean, they're so rugged, they're so fresh from the garden. You can see that it was more about quality as opposed to the way that these fruits looked. I mean, each specific pepper and pomegranate and leaf and lemon, and even the way in which the plate sort of seems kind of run down really speaks to the fact that it wasn't about perfection, it's about the taste of the fruit. Let me tell you just a little bit about this. Painted in 1881, this painting is titled Fruits from the Midi. It is featured in the Art Institute of Chicago in the Mr. and Mrs. Martin A. Ryerson collection. This still life is at once like and unlike what we expect of Renoir. It is full of surprises. A certain ruggedness of brushing, bulk, and drawing suggests Cézanne's influence. It may even have been painted while Renoir was visiting his friend at L'Estaque, but the profusion, there are no fewer than 24 fruits of many different varieties, is Renoir's and not Cézanne's. So too are the textural interest, the abundance of color, the preoccupation with the look and feel of things, the sustained interest in the variety of highlights in Renoir's, and so is the discovery of subtle decorative qualities of the subject. The scalloped lips of the dish, which I referred to earlier, is the most obvious statement of a decorative theme. As the eye goes around the outermost edges of the whole still life group, it describes a larger variant of the theme. Inside the clutter of fruit and group, it describes a larger variant of the theme. And in single objects as well, the peppers, for instance, further echoes are present. Opposed to the development on the left side of the campus is the color arrangement. The bright reds are mainly on the right side, and with the peppers, as the corners, they form an almost perfect equilateral triangle. The dark purple blues, the yellows, and greens are reserved for the other side of the composition, but they are picked up by the fruits in the center of the triangle of red, as the red is echoed by the two globes at the left. Similarly, the purples are introduced into the pomegranates, and in the cast shadows, all the major colors are shot through the upper part of the background, and delicate nuances occur again in the tablecloth. Absolutely delightful. What a pleasure it is. Again, Renoir, favorite of ASMartin's, and myself, ASMartin. Now another delight from our living room. Oh my goodness. Not the lightest thing in the world. This beautiful menorah from Jerusalem. Handcrafted. This Jewish holy symbol. Was handcrafted and is made of real silver, bronze, and gold. You can see the details and the images from the Old Testament in each one of the components of this beautiful menorah, from the rectangular shapes all the way to the circular dime-like shapes, and even the menorah itself. These are the 10 Commandments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to 10 commandments. I mean, you can stare at this forever, and here actually what this reads is Shema Israel. Shema Israel is one of the main prayers in Judaism. Shin, sh, mem, m, a, ein, Shema. I, s, ra, il. Israel. Shema Israel. Now, granted, this is a mirror sort of view, so just imagine this facing the other direction. The symbolism behind the design and just the beautiful material, so sturdy and heavy, the marble, the stone. All the different components of this design are just so unique. And to think all of this was handcrafted by a Jerusalem modern Israeli artist, you can really appreciate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Each menorah has 7 candles. And in Hebrew, Achat, Shtaim, Shalosh, Arba, Chamesh, Shesh, Sheva. Achat, Shtaim, Shalosh, Arba, Chamesh, Shesh, Sheva. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Achat, Shtaim, Shalosh, Arba, 5, 6, 7, 6, 7. This is a little taste of my personality. This is my favorite guilty pleasure. Caramel flavored, sweet, crunchy popcorn. While it resembles walnuts, it's actually caramel topped popcorn. Some sea salt. In a jar. This is hand harvested from the rocks of the Aegean Sea Islands in Greece. It's very precious. It's really an artisan imported sea salt. Artisan, not in terms of how it was crafted by humans, but artisan by nature. Artisan by nature. I hope you enjoyed the crinkling and the tapping and the shaking and all the different sounds of the different objects from today. Next week, hopefully ASMartin will be back, and I hope that I was a proper and good enough replacement for her for this week. Please comment below. Wish ASMartin the best. I'm sure she'll appreciate all your comments. She loves you guys so much. She can't stop talking about each and every one of you. And don't hesitate to leave us some feedback. As ASMartin says, goodbye